This is Harley Hartwell, and you're listening to the Case Closed Podcast.
No, but what were we talking about? We were just talking about the the critics.
Oh yes, critics. Yes,
Critics,
yeah,
and yeah,
there's always critics out there. You can't please everybody. I mean that's obvious. I mean, especially in like an anime. I mean, you have the people who will not even consider watching an English dub. They want the original. They want the, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's awesome. I'm just thankful that the option is there if they want to switch tracks to hear me. Great.
yeah, and I think most companies actually in the mid 2000s, Funimation made that a big thing when they would advertise DVDs, as they would say, hey, it has the original Japanese audio, and
Yeah.
because there are purists out there that just want to listen to that.
Sure.
One thing I appreciated with Case Closed was the music was such a good fit that they, even in the days where they would take out, the Japanese soundtrack and insert their own, you kind of didn't really have to for a show like Case Closed because the soundtrack just already fits so well and worked for an American audience.
Sure.
Honestly, so it did work out quite well. And even in the new version of the show, and I call it the new version because the music that you hear in the show, even from the episodes that you dubbed all the way through, stays the same until about episode 400. And then the music is still the same, though. It's just a newer version of the songs.
Right.
In it. So there's been a consistency with that. But, yeah, as a company, Funimation has promoted that for, years and years now. And I think in a lot of ways it has worked out for them because even new things like the new Dragon Ball Z movie that came out. They, you have your English voices, but they now, instead of spending money on finding new music to insert, they now just use the, original Japanese audio. In on those. Now, I will say back in the day when they recorded some of the old DBZ movies, they would get soundtracks from, bands like Disturbed, another band called Ion, and then Drowning Pool had a few tracks laid over, like on Cooler's Revenge.
Oh, wow.
A couple of the old DBZ movies, they did that. And I don't know. I think it's probably more cost-effective now to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably does save more licensing issues, save some more negotiations than that. But I can certainly appreciate it, and I'm glad that they kept it that way with Case Closed because I couldn't imagine any other music going over it, honestly.
Right.
Overall, but we talked about it a little bit last time, and I don't know if the part had made it on. We always talk about what could happen if Case Closed was to end.
Right.
What's going to happen in the ending. And a lot of people know my theory about it. I think the leader, the boss, is Harley's dad, Martin Hartwell.
That's
a theory I've had for quite some time. And what if it is, and total speculation, just total speculation.
Yeah.
If it is, what role would you like to see, since you voiced Harley, what role would you like to see him play in the finale if that was the case?
Oh, wow. I mean, I would, I would love if however Jimmy returns back to being, the full-size teenager.
Yeah.
To either be an active part in helping him get there or being there in that moment and then getting ready to go off and do another case together, because I love projects where we may see the last episode, but we know that the story is going to continue on, beyond what we get to see, that those are kind of the things I like to see, like, especially like with Star Trek and stuff like that, watching Star Trek series, we know the characters have carried on, and I think it would be great if Jimmy and Harley carried on together. Maybe they'll build their own detective agency together. Who knows?
Which could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I think if it was a storyline where Harley was either part of helping him to get restored, and then everyone learns the secret, and he was part of that, and he kept that because Harley knows that it's Jimmy, and having kept that secret from everybody, and helping that, and then being able to continue on solving crimes and saving the world, throwing himself in front of planes to die, but then he saved at the last second because a parachute fell out and he caught it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, or like in the I don't think you've seen this. I don't know if I emailed you about this. I thought I might have sent an email about the episode he was in where somebody was trying to frame Jimmy Kudo as a murderer in one of the episodes because this person apparently went through plastic surgery to look just like Jimmy and then commit a crime, and then it looks like Jimmy did it because this guy has his face.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, Harley really saved the day on that one. Like really saved.
I had to watch that one.
Yeah, he really saved Jimmy's reputation. I'll have to send you the link.
Please do, yeah.
Yeah, and saves his reputation, in such a big way. And and it was an unbelievable episode. But I see them possibly doing something like that because when they collaborate, on cases, where a crime has just happened and everybody's, oh my gosh, they're like one of the only two calm ones that try to figure things, out. Just they kind of take a step back. It could happen that way. And and my theory is I think everybody's going to have a showdown moment. Like my personal favorite character in the series is a police detective named Akai.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's a spoiler at this point.
Sure.
Because everybody basically knows he gets shot to death in one of the episodes. He ends up, and it was very gory. I mean, this was let's censor this out and he gets shot. There's blood everywhere. I mean, it's insane.
Oh, wow.
But it turns out that he fakes his death with the help of the person that shoots him and stays into hiding because it's the black organization that shrunk Jimmy. Well, he's trying to bring them down. So he fakes his own death so that they think he's dead and they will stop hunting him. And with the help of Conan, he ends up living in his house and, like stuff like that. And I don't know how much of the series you followed, but you know how Jimmy has this really big house.
Right.
And ends up he ends up moving the guy who faked his death ends up moving him into his house and gives him a whole new disguise, and he looks completely different in the show, and you just have no idea who this person is until later on where they're on a train and the black organization's trying to figure out kind of what's going on because they're hunting this little girl who in turn ended up taking the same drug that Jimmy was forced to take. She took it because she thought it was going to kill her, but it ended up shrinking her because the organization was holding her captive.
Yeah.
And so they're hunting her throughout all these episodes. Well, long story short, to make a very long story short, she ends up on this train with Conan and everybody, and the black organization gets on this train as well. And then Jimmy's mother is on the train disguised.
Oh my gosh.
It is a big spiel. And then it's revealed that the guy who faked his own death is on the train trying to keep the little girl safe, basically, from the organization. I mean, this is why I love the show so much. It really just has turned into like such a big, big arc with all these characters.
Yeah, yeah.
It would have been a good episode for Harley to be in, by the way. I don't know why they didn't look into doing that.
Oh, well.
They should have, though. It would have been a really good one. And they ended up, at the end of the episode, there's this, big thing of one of the organization members tries to kill the girl, and then the guy who fakes his death reveals himself a little bit, but not quite all the way. Like, you can just see his eyes, so you know it's him.
Oh, yeah.
And then goes back into hiding. Well, the whole thing of this is, there's a ton of just showdown moments. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I could see that kind of being an end to the series where, if it's Harley having to go up against his dad, who could be the big boss, who I think is, because his dad just doesn't show up very much.
Right, right.
But when he does, it's quite, sinister, and it's quite, he's there for like a little while and then he's not there. And I think in total of Case Closed, he appeared maybe, I don't know, maybe a total of 4 or 5 times overall. And so he's there,
yeah.
but, they've implied that whoever the boss is has to be somebody high ranking in the police department, because there's no way that they're supposed to know all this stuff. And so, that's just kind of one of my theories overall as to how they could end it. But I mean, again, it is such a long series. I mean, they just celebrated 20 years of the anime, and
oh wow,
think of doing that for 20 years. Producing, and oddly enough, the creator of the show ended up marrying the voice actress for Conan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for a little while.
Wow.
They're divorced now, but they were
okay.
They were together for a couple of years, and I still find it funny that even through that relationship, she still does Conan after all these years, and there was some believe it or not, there was some question as to what was going to happen, because the creator, Gosho Aoyama, got really, really sick.
Oh, really?
And he was in the hospital for months. And during this time, they weren't really writing the manga. So
oh, wow.
The story did kind of go to a standstill. So there's been a lot of, people speculating that, who knows, maybe since he almost passed away, maybe he's going to end it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he's not that old. So, I mean, he's still a relatively younger, guy. He's not, on his last leg or anything. He just got really sick with something. They didn't really disclose it, but
yeah.
But honestly, I mean, now that I think about it, Peach Girl was what, 13 episodes? I think it was.
No, it was longer than that, because Zach did the first 10, and then I did the last. I think it was like 20 episodes or 21.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I saw your post. Didn't you say it was on sale on like deep discounts?
Oh, that's Rumbling Hearts.
Hearts?
Oh, yeah. No, Rumbling Hearts, yeah. They it's deepdiscount.com. They usually have a sale on it. It's what's called the Viridian Collection, I think. So it's all 14 episodes
Nice.
in one little package for like $15.
Oh.
So yeah, I'll sometimes like order 5 copies and give them away at conventions or something like that.
What did I say? I thought I said. Did I say another show?
You said Peach Girl.
Oh, whoops. That was 10 episodes,
like,
wasn't it? Oh, gosh.
No.
I'm getting all my shows mixed up.
It's all good. No, Peach Girl, I think, was like 21 or 22. Rumbling Hearts was 14.
Okay. Yeah, oh, my gosh. I completely messed that one up. Oh, goodness. But, yeah, so, I mean, Rumbling Hearts, that was like, wasn't that your first major... That was your one major lead role at the time.
That was the first one. I couldn't believe I got it. I remember, I read for Zach Bolton, and then got the call to say, we need you to come in to work on a show tomorrow. I said, okay. I mean that was half the time. They just say, we need you for something tomorrow. Oh, okay. I'll show up. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I remember walking in, and Zach was there, and he said, okay. He says, congratulations. I said, oh, well, thanks. So what are we doing, Walla? Or he says, no, you're the main character. I'm like, excuse me? we picked you. You did you fit the part best for this character. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So that's when they had me watch the first couple of episodes again, so as a director, what he was doing is like, okay, this is the show. Watch the first couple episodes. We'll talk a little bit about the storyline and what this character's journey is, and then we messed around with the voice a little bit, and off we went, and it was great. I mean, I think we did it in about, probably about a month, maybe 6 weeks, different times, and that was the show where I was so worried because I woke up at about 4 a.m. and just sick as all, just a terrible cold, and I was booked for 8 hours this particular day, and I was working with, it was Tyler Walker at the time because they shared episodes. We went back and forth. And I was terrified that I was sick. I mean, I was drinking, I got up, I mean, massive headache. I was trying to drink, hot lemon honey tea and get my voice, but yeah, my voice was just shot. I mean, it was just, deep, gravelly. It just was not what we had been doing for, the first few episodes. And I'm not the type of guy to just say, just to call in sick, especially on a day where we're booked for 8 hours all day long. So I drove out to the studio early, and I'm sitting in the break room, and Tyler walks up, and I said, dude, this is how I sound. I'm sick. I didn't know what to do. That's why I came in. And he said, Kevin, this is perfect. I said, why is it perfect? Because the 2 episodes we were doing, Takayuki has a cold. So I think this is the universe lining up perfection for me. So I didn't have to fake being sick. I was actually sick. I remember they adjusted the audio, so I wasn't very close to the microphone to spit germs all over it. We kept Lysoling the microphone and screen and the windscreen, just like all day long, because I wanted to protect everybody I could. And so I recorded both episodes, and he's sick, I'm sick. It was perfect. Now that did lead to one of the strangest experiences I had after a show came out, because I don't do it a lot now, but I'd Google my name, to see where I'm at and the shows I'm in. And I came across a forum that would fall under the definition of a fetish forum for sneezes. They're out there.
Wow.
I am a equality, whatever floats your boat, go for it. But this was a forum about a sneeze fetish, and a thread had been started about me asking, does anybody else, or does anybody know, does Kevin M.Connolly sneeze in any other series? He has a great one in Rumbling Hearts. Now, so what I did is, here's the problem. I can't sneeze on cue to save my life. I don't do a good fake sneeze. So the sneeze in that series was not recorded by me. That was actually Tyler Walker, the director, sneezing.
Wow.
And so I created an account on this fetish website, and I logged in and said, hey guys, this is Kevin who played Takayuki. Very excited. You're very passionate about an aspect of the show, but I have to confess, it's not me. You can go congratulate Tyler Walker, because he is the sneeze master. And they were very nice. I mean, they're like, oh my gosh, you're really here. Is it really you? I said, yes, it's really me, but I have to confess, I am not the sneeze in that particular portion of that show. That was someone else, because I tried, and I sound like just a fake dork trying to do a sneeze. Yeah. Very, very interesting, unique experience in that area. So, yay!
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Once Rumbling Hearts ended, what did what were your thoughts? Did you know it was going to end, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, they said this is a 14 episode series. It's just a short one. I think it was kind of, experiment is the bad word. But what I understood at the time, that this was kind of to see, because this was it's a high school show, but it's a serious drama. It wasn't, a high school show with magic and, a main girl cast, and doing magical things or whatever, that kind of that particular genre. So I really think it was just to see what the fan reaction would be like to this kind of storytelling. I don't think it had been done a lot before, from what I understood. And it's a small little show. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a lot of swag. There were no posters or anything you could get, and actually it has a kind of a strange history. It actually was inspired by a hentai game where
Really?
where apparently Takayuki's goal is to sleep with as many female students at his school. Now, how that got translated into this very dramatic, very as I often seen critiqued, depressing show, I'm not sure. But that was the weird little history, is that it came out of a hentai game. And then there was was a sequel. I'm not sure if it was just a manga or if it was actually animated, where the two female lead characters suddenly become spy agents, and my character has been long dead, killed off. So
Wow.
it was a very strange, yes, very strange history pre and post of that particular original telling of that show. So, but I'm still glad to be a part of it. I was very proud of it. Again, that was a great learning experience, with Zach and Tyler, who, I really felt like I learned a lot approaching. Because I mean, again, doing ADR is definitely a unique arena of acting, because, it's a combination of, you have to be a technical actor because you have to match the flaps, and make sure you're talking at the right speed with the right breaks, on top of, being an emotional character. So it's definitely a challenge.
No,
And
I could see that for sure.
yeah, so I mean, I always looked, yes, I love working in anime and doing the shows, but it was also very much a great learning experience, and I really felt like I learned, I mean, my teachers were my directors, we're talking Mike and Chris and Colleen and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name now, Chris. I mean, all of them. Every time I worked with them, it was a learning experience, and they were always very, very kind with me. And I will always say I believe that they held a great patience for me until I got better.
Yeah, and I mean, like you talked about taking the classes and all that. I mean, that has to,
Oh yeah,
help
yeah,
show them that you're working and stuff. I mean, that's, I don't think a
exactly.
lot of people do that, and that's what you kind of, like you said earlier, what you have to do, in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and two, finding teachers that you like. I mean, there's been a couple of voiceover classes I've taken that I was not impressed by, that by people in who work in voiceover extensively, and I just felt that, how they described the class was not what I got. But then another case, like for example, Rachel, this is a voiceover boot camp, and really for those who are wanting to learn about it. But even then, she gave me so much information that I learned from that, again, that I know I've been taught before. I just needed great reminders from great teachers. And I'm taking another one with Mark Grew, who's a huge voiceover actor and video game and animation actor out here. So I'm taking his one-day workshop just to be reminded of what I already know, but also see what new techniques I can learn as well. So it is kind of a constant learning career. You have to constantly, and I say that, though, a lot of people get stuck in just taking classes, and then they're not really pursuing avenues to put what they've learned into practice. They're not auditioning. I mean, I know some agents will, tell their clients, just keep going to acting classes and acting classes and acting classes. And for me, I'm lucky enough to say, well, I would go to acting class, but I've got rehearsal tonight, because I'm acting. So
yeah,
it's a matter of finding a balance. And again, going back to the social media, I mean, a big part of my push for that now is to reach out to companies and say, hey, can I read for you? Are you in need of male voice actors? Can I be put on your talent list to send on auditions to, or just let me know what you're doing, and maybe I can fit somewhere. So it's going back to that marathon aspect, that you have to constantly keep working at it, and keep in mind that when you're not, well, your competition might be out there doing something you're not doing. So you have to it's definitely something you have to have a drive for, and even in my case, I'm not going to lie, I've gotten beaten down by rejection a few times, but we all do, and it sometimes can be challenging to see posts of other actors and people that saying, oh, I just got cast in this, I just got cast in this, and it's like, oh, well, I'm working my day job right now, but that's part of the game, that's where you just have to, you're not going to get cast in everything that you read for. Especially, and a big factor of that is the competition pool. LA is a much larger competition pool compared to Texas, or it's, different to New York or Canada, and it's location. Are you in, if you really want to do anime, you really have to live where the studios are, because they don't fly you out. If you get cast in something, that's up to you. That's not their job, which is why you're going to see, that if and it goes back to like, I had a great comment from a teacher in my undergrad, when it comes to training, go train where you want to work. My goal has always been TV film. So I did my grad work at UCLA, compared to someone who may say, I want to do theater. That's my main focus. Well, they're not going to come to California to train for that. They're going to go to New York. They're going to go to Chicago. They're going to go to Minneapolis. That's where theater is, so prevalent. That's where all the big work happens. So, and again, that's where, for, any kind of creative bit, you find the college that where you want to work is where you want to get educated, and where you, and then too, as actors, we have to go where the work is. There's a lot of talk, and even I've considered, I sometimes consider about moving to Georgia. Why? Because 42 scripted primetime shows are shot in Georgia now. So guess where the work is? In Georgia. That's part of the artist's life, is you have to, in some arenas, you have to go where the work is. You train where the work is that you want to do. So you have to be very, very flexible and malleable in that. And because it's not the job of a studio, whether it's TV or film or anything, usually, unless you're a big name, to get you where they need you. If you want to work in anime, then you've got to live in Los Angeles. You've got to live in Dallas. You've got to live in New York. Unless you're willing to, unless they can work out a schedule and you can, you can pay for the flight to get you there. But more often than not, like I said the last time we talked, I get the phone call saying, can you be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. for a job? Well, if you need to book a flight, you've just lost the job, because they're not going to wait for you. This is especially on broadcast shows. I think last time we talked, I told a story about my whole case closed, where I thought I would get fired because the voices were different, because it just simply fell through the cracks. But I forgot to mention, I think at the time, that, especially at Funimation, that at the time, the directors were not only having to, juggle, all the actors of the show, working with the script, that if we had to rewrite in session, or that, the script was good, or just, fit everything, on top of facing broadcast deadlines. I mean, these directors have to juggle so many elements on top of just saying, Kevin, do the line again a little faster, So, such big kudos to especially at the time, Mike and Chris and all of them, having to put in so much work to make sure that all the deadlines were met, It's crazy to be a part of that, and I'm so thankful. Again, I didn't get fired.
Well, at the same time too, it sounds like just a miscommunication between directors. Honestly, there's not much you can.
Oh, absolutely,
do in that, and that just kind of happens, and and luckily it was for the trailer, and you did have to. I think you said you had to redo the episode though at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was a huge pressure. We had to record. It was a two-parter, and we had to record the whole thing in a day. Now, again, a lot of work had already been done, so all the timing and script corrections had been done. So it was. Even though it took us I think we started at 9 a.m. and didn't get done till like 10:30 or 11. It was literally, though, me listening to the line I had already recorded and just redoing it in the proper voice tone. But that meant that engineers that night had to mix all the audio, because it had to be sent to Cartoon Network the next day. I think it had to be shipped out by 5 p.m. So they, kudos to the engineers. Who knows how many they had working on it, having to master all that new audio in, because it had to be on a plane, or maybe it was transferred online. I don't know, but it had to be done, So there's a lot of added pressure. I know a lot. I don't want to discourage anybody. Yes, it's a great fun job, but we don't sit around and chat, do a couple lines, and then chat. You have to know what you're doing, get in, do a good job, do it quick, and get out, because the next actor's got to get in. because they're under deadlines, and I think that's, one of the things that, why you see, a lot of the big names and repeat, lead actors and actresses is because of their professionalism on top of their talent and skill level, is that they can get in and they can do the job quick, and do it well, because, this is a very fast-paced business. It's all about the deadlines, especially if it's broadcast. You don't have time to dilly-dally and figure out. I mean, I think the longest time I spent on, going back to that paragraph from the movie with Caitlin Glass, I think we spent 45 minutes getting this paragraph right. But that's, I mean, hopefully now I could do that faster and better, but, you don't always have that luxury. You've got to get it right the first time. I remember when I directed, I was very green, and I felt really bad because I had to call an actor back in to redo a scene that I knew that I had directed poorly. I mean, it was on me that we had to pay an actor to do a scene again, because I wasn't on top of understanding how this scene had to be approached. Thankfully, I didn't go. I don't think I went over budget, but that's another factor I've got to keep in mind. That there's only a certain amount of money to pay actors. And we have to get the job right the first time. So it's just, there's a lot of other elements that I think that people don't take into consideration or think about, as a director, and then on the, and on everybody, on the whole creative team.
Yeah, and I could certainly understand that. I think I remember that it was somebody who was just waking up, and you had to call him back in because
exactly
that groggy sound effect. Yeah.
And the actor, and I'm forgetting his first name now, but he went on to be one of the reoccurring characters on Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you saying
Charles Baker.
Charles Baker,
yeah, great guy.
I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan.
And I believe he's on. I was just looking at his website because I haven't talked to him ever since then. Great guy to work with, very dedicated actor, and obviously being very successful with Breaking Bad. And I believe he's on a reoccurring on an NBC show right now as well. So yeah, he really went on to do some good stuff there. Very excited for him.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, I recognize him. He's been in a lot of stuff. My goodness.
Yeah.
He's in a show I watch on TNT. He was in the first season. It's called Murder in the First.
Yes.
And with Taye Diggs, and I cannot remember the other name.
That's right. Yeah, doing very well. Very well. But yeah, he was a great.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the one. In fact, I remember I hadn't prepared very well for that scene, and I gave poor direction. And so I had to book that time to get him back in, and thankfully he's very, very talented, very good, and so he understood. I was able to express why, and I remember playing the scene for him and saying, "This is what I did wrong. This is what we need to fix," and he got it instantaneously. He's like, "Of course," and then, but then in my case, I remember I replaced somebody on a show. I mean, that's something that also happens. Is I remember it was for a Lumatoon that a guy had auditioned very well, but apparently I don't know the history. I can only guess that maybe he hadn't done ADR before, and he just couldn't quite get it right. They were having to do extra work to get it right with him in that particular process, and they decided to recast, and they called me in to take over on that. So again, that kind of thing happens as well. Where casting is so important to get just right. And sometimes it doesn't go that way, and then you have to adjust for it. So yeah, there's so many elements that it isn't just going in, saying the lines in a great voice and then walking out the door. There's so many other elements that have to be taken into consideration, because the ultimate goal is to create a quality product that people want to spend money on and that people enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's I think with Funimation right now, it's really important because I think they're producing so much at this point that they have to really, what's a good expression for it? Goodness, I cannot think of a good expression for it. Really, I guess you could say be on their game.
Yeah, I haven't.
when it comes to that.
Again, I haven't followed a lot. I am hoping to reach out and see what if I can get back in the game and see how they're doing, because it's been 8 years. I mean, I like I said, we talked earlier. I'm doing a little something today for I think One Piece of a character I did years ago, but that's just a little. I'm assuming it's probably 10 lines or less, and have not kept up with them since then, since I left in 2008. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens and see what how they're working now.
And for me, and this is always a question that I'd want to ask is if, say you hit like a major role and the episode count is, you got hundreds of episodes, like say, I guess a show like Case Closed, but not quite.
Sure.
Would that be a situation where you would relocate to play that role for a long term, or what would happen?
Something like that. I mean, me personally, my overall goal is TV film. So I don't think I could justify doing a complete relocation. I would just be a matter, because hopefully if let's say something like that magically happens, I don't know what they're doing that size anymore, but if that happened, it would just be a matter of scheduling. I mean, and then I'd, maybe fly out for a week and they would record me all that week, and then I go away, and then they do, spend the next 4 to 6 weeks filming, recording everybody else. And then I go back for another week, but me personally, I wouldn't want, I mean, yes, I love doing anime, but my ultimate goal is to do more work in TV film, and this is where I kind of need to be to do that. Or Georgia, we'll see. We'll see what happens in a year.
Georgia.
Or Georgia, so, and again, too, I know that there are a lot of actors out here who are doing Funimation who are working at a local studio. So I am intrigued to see technologically how that is working, and maybe that might be an option for me. But unless I was doing multiple series and then maybe even, throwing my hat in to try directing again, I don't think I would take on something where I would have to relocate for at this stage in my career goals.
I could understand that. I mean, for me, I wouldn't want to relocate either, really, too much.
Yeah.
If you like it out where you are, I
yeah.
stay there.
I mean, if there was a way to get to work out a scheduling thing that was that was feasible and that everybody could work with, that if I could go out every other month or something, that it was financially worth it for me, and that they felt that I was the perfect choice for this character to do that. I would hope that we could maybe work something out scheduling wise to allow that to happen.
Like Harley.
Like Harley, yeah. Oh man, I would love to play Harley again. He does hold a very special place, since he was the first kind of major guy I got to do, and just a lot of fun. And I really I learned a lot from acting and from working on that show, and then from him, and playing a character that normally wouldn't be cast in. So it's fun. It's definitely fun.
And it makes sense also that it took so long to have to re-record those lines, because literally those 2 episodes, he's the feature character in those episodes.
Oh my gosh. So daunting. So daunting.
He is the guy.
And like I said, Chris Case and Chris and I we're both lovers of Halloween, and he listened to the broadcast, the podcast, and he said, I remember all that stuff now. Yeah. And again, I wasn't privy to all the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know, all I know is that it just fell through the cracks. And, again, because these guys with so much pressure of not only recording and directing and getting the broadcast deadlines and all this stuff, it just slipped. Nobody could have seen it happen. You couldn't have predicted it. So, yeah, they were just awesome, and Chris, and we just knocked it out, and I remember being exhausted from talking, and my first time ever being exhausted from talking all day long. But definitely a good learning experience, and I always now save my auditions and bring them. If I book a job, I bring my audition with me on my phone just to make sure. Okay, how did I sound when I did that? Ah, yes, let's keep that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, here's the cool thing is that, if something ever happens where that happens again, at least you know you get paid double for the work. You know? Oh my gosh. So I mean, at least you turned it into a good experience, you know. And
Yes, absolutely. A
now you
great
can
learning
laugh
experience.
about it.
Now I can laugh about it. Now, not driving home terrified, thinking I am never going to work again here. I am never going to work again here. That's okay. I can do theater. I'm never going to work there again. You know, I mean, and then that even continued over. I mean, I was totally amazed what Mike did for the second season of Full Metal, where he said, you know, can you find a studio to do these little lines of Fury, because which they could have easily recast, and even now, I mean, really honored to be remembered, you know, for that, and which, you know, obviously there's been a little connection with the audience that they want to hear me in this part, and maybe not necessarily someone else, and you know, getting to revisit that and maybe reconnect with Funimation and do more. We'll see.
Yeah, and that's one thing I have noticed, at least with Funimation, is I think they will try as hard as they can to keep original cast if they
Oh,
can.
sure, because, you know, people get so connected. I mean, I remember when I was reading, or no, I was talking to Mike, I think, about season 2, that there was one actor who they had for the first season who just could not do the second season because he had so much dialogue and he had moved out of state, and it just wasn't, you know, financially feasible or schedule wise to be able to get him back. So they had no choice but to recast. So, but obviously, you know, again, even though Fury's seen a lot, he didn't talk a lot. So it just happened to work out in that favor. So, hey, I'm more than happy to travel if we can work something out schedule wise. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated, definitely.
Oh, and we would appreciate it. Can you just give a rundown of how people can get in touch with you and let them know?
Absolutely. I have a really cheesy looking website that I'll be working on and redoing, but it's www.315studio.net, singular. People ask me, why didn't it say 315 Studios, you know, like everybody else does? I only have one booth. I have one studio. I don't have more than one, so it's just studio. My Twitter, my brand new Twitter, which is really my old Twitter, just cleaned up, is at Kevin M. Connolly. And my email, I always say that I can't promise to respond immediately, but I do promise to respond at some point, is kevin@315studio.net. And I love chatting, so say hi. Oh, and Instagram.
Oh,
Instagram
yeah,
is also,
yeah.
Instagram is Kevin M. Connolly as well. So pretty easy to find, hopefully.
And that's how you can get in touch with Kevin M. Connolly. And I, you know, for D-Wall, I've been really happy to come back on this episode and you know, do this. So I appreciate D-Wall carving out some time for me to be able to come back and be on the episode as well. So to him, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And just to kind of on a note as well, to let everyone know that we are currently in production on the part 2 of the traveling drama troupe murder case. It's hard to say when it'll be ready because we really don't know.
Fair enough.
Once all the lines are emailed in, and then I can kind of sift through and get that over to the editor.
Yeah.
We'll look to be getting that out. It's but just look for that, and you know, till next time, we really appreciate everyone listening, and we really appreciate Kevin M. Connolly coming on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Anytime. I'll come back and talk a lot.
Thank you, and everyone else have a great day, and keep listening. We'll be having some more stuff come out soon.
Thank you guys for listening to this special 3-part interview series with Kevin M. Connolly. It was an honor to interview him again. It was an honor to talk about different things in his life and his experiences with Case Closed and where he's going with next and everything. It was really great for him to be on, and I hope that maybe sometime down the road we can have another interview with him and see where things are going with him and see where other things are taking him. Again, guys, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. Me and Professor C really appreciate all the support you guys have shown us in the last few months with the growth of the Save Case Closed channel, with the growth of the Silver Bullet Files channel. Really, it's just truly great to see all you fans that have rallied behind this and have made this what it is. It has made this community one of the best communities out there going today, and we want everyone else out there to know exactly who we are and what this community is about. So if you would please, this is just something I would like to ask from me to you guys. Please share this podcast, share the Save Case Closed YouTube channel, share the Silver Bullet Files channel, share the Twitter and Facebook pages, and of course the forums also. We're going to try and do more with the forums as well. If you haven't got an account with the forums, the link is down in the description below of this podcast. Please get an account with the forums and join in the conversation with us. We really want to see a lot of activity in the forums again. It doesn't have to be every day, but just whenever you can. We really want to see some activity there. Also, work is being done on the Silver Bullet Files that has not stopped. It's just a lot of things going on with us. If you want to be a part of it, and I know I say this a lot, but if you want to be a part of our fan dub, please write us at caseclosed1992@live.com and let us know that you're interested. Send in your tryout and we'll get back to you. The one thing that we want to stress, though, please, please, please do not repeatedly message us asking us about parts and asking us after you send in a tryout or after you send us a message saying that you want to try out. Please do not keep repeatedly spamming messages to us every single second or so like that. We are busy people. Me and Professor C are very busy. Both of us run the email. Both of us run the Facebook page, and we're busy just like everyone else. And we don't have time to hear all the messages every second. So that I'm not trying to be rude. If I am, I apologize. But I'm just trying to speak for him and myself. So please, if you would, please don't repeatedly spam us with messages saying, where's my part? Where's my part? Just send us one message that says you're interested. We'll get back to you when we can. And then you send in your tryout, or just send us your tryout outright in one message letting us know. And then we will get back to you as soon as we can on that. So thank you guys for that. And I'm trying not to make this too long because you've already listened to the podcast. It's pretty long, but it's pretty engaging. So thank you guys. Expect another episode of the podcast in about a week or two. I expect our live streams to come back as soon as possible. I don't know exactly when that'll be. Maybe in the end of the month. I'm not too sure, but I will let you guys know. Again, share all of our social media accounts. Share the forums. And MixLR, please follow us and subscribe to that so you'll know when we go live on MixLR for the live streams. We will let you know about the Silver Bullet Files. We got some big plans for later on this summer. We have some huge news. We can't tell you everything right now, but we just know that we got some huge things coming up involving the fan dub. So if you want to be a part of that, please get those emails to us. It's going to be a big thing that's about to happen here. And I know all of you would want to be a part of it. We definitely need female actors, though. So just letting you know about that. Have a great and safe 4th of July holiday weekend, guys. Be safe. Have a lot of fun. And I will talk to you guys on the next episode of the Case Closed podcast. Talk to you guys later.